The vast expanse of the cosmos had known peace for millennia. Countless civilizations thrived among the stars, trading, exploring, and coexisting in a delicate balance. But in the blink of an eye, everything changed. It started as a whisper, a faint disturbance at the edge of the galaxy. The Zarkonian Empire, the oldest and most advanced civilization in the known universe, detected an anomaly in the fabric of space-time. At first, they dismissed it as a mere curiosity, a natural phenomenon to be studied and catalogued. They were wrong. Within days, the anomaly grew, consuming entire star systems in its wake. The Zarkonians watched in horror as their long-range sensors revealed the truth. A massive interdimensional rift had opened, spewing forth creatures of nightmare and chaos. Captain XYL Era of the Zarkonian flagship, Eternal Light, couldn't believe her eyes. "By the cosmic spirits, what are those things?" she exclaimed, her forearms trembling as she gripped the command console. The main view screen showed a swarm of entities that defied description. They were massive, each the size of a small moon, with bodies that seemed to shift and change with every passing moment. Tentacles of pure energy lashed out, tearing apart planets and stars as if they were made of paper. We've never seen anything like this before," stammered Science Officer Vexlor, his usually calm demeanor shattered by the sight before them. "They're not just destroying everything in their path, they're consuming it." The Zarkonian High Council convened an emergency meeting, broadcasting a distress signal to every corner of the galaxy. As reports flooded in from other civilizations, the true scale of the threat became apparent. The Thrall 11 Collective, known for their unshakable courage in the face of any danger, sent a fleet of their most powerful warships to confront the invaders. The entire galaxy watched, holding their breath, hoping that the legendary Thrall 11 would turn the tide. They didn't stand a chance. In less than an hour, the pride of the Thrall 11 fleet was reduced to atoms, their screams of terror echoing across subspace before being abruptly silenced. Panic spread like wildfire. The Mirloth Federation, masters of diplomacy and negotiation, attempted to communicate with the invaders. Their emissaries were obliterated before they could even finish their first transmission. As system after system fell, a name for the invaders emerged from the chaos: the Voidborn. They were entities from beyond the known dimensions, driven by an insatiable hunger to devour all of reality. The galaxy's most powerful civilizations, once divided by petty squabbles and ancient grudges, now found themselves united by a common, overwhelming fear. Emergency councils were formed, evacuation plans were drawn up, and last-ditch weapons were hastily constructed. But nothing seemed to work. The Voidborn shrugged off the most devastating weapons as if they were mere annoyances. They breached the strongest shields, bypassed the most advanced cloaking technologies, and found ways around every defensive measure thrown at them. As the situation grew increasingly desperate, the attention of the galactic community turned to a small, blue planet in an unremarkable solar system, Earth, home to a species that had only recently taken its first tentative steps into interstellar society, humanity. The cosmic powers that had long regarded humans as primitive, volatile, and unpredictable. Many had advocated for their containment, fearing the chaos they might bring to the galactic stage. But now, as all seemed lost, whispers began to circulate. "Have you heard about the humans? They say they've faced extinction-level events before. I heard they thrive on conflict and adversity." As the Voidborn drew ever closer to the heart of the galaxy, leaving a trail of devastation in their wake, a desperate plan was formed. The remaining galactic powers would make their stand alongside humanity in Earth's solar system. It was a long shot, a desperate gamble based on little more than rumors and half-understood observations. But as the armies of a million worlds trembled in the face of cosmic horror, they clung to one last, fragile hope: that while the universe cowered in fear, humanity would stand tall. Little did they know, the greatest challenge in human history was about to begin, and the fate of all reality hung in the balance. As news of the Voidborn's unstoppable advance spread across the cosmos, panic gripped the hearts of countless civilizations. The galaxy, once a tapestry of diverse cultures and thriving worlds, was rapidly unraveling into chaos. The Galactic Council, a body that had maintained peace for millennia, convened an emergency session. Representatives from thousands of species gathered in the great halls of Centauri Prime, their faces etched with fear and desperation. High Counselor Zoiax Nara, a being of pure energy from the Andromeda Galaxy, addressed the assembly. My fellow sentients, we face an unprecedented crisis. The Voidborn threaten not just our way of life, but our very existence. The chamber erupted in a cacophony of voices, each species reacting in their own way. The Krull, a warrior race known for their stoicism, pounded their chest plates in defiance. "We will fight to the last," their leader, Grokthar, roared. But even as he spoke, a tremor in his voice betrayed his underlying terror. The Ethereals, beings of pure thought, simply faded from view, their collective consciousness overwhelmed by the horror of the situation. The Zarkonians, once the proud guardians of galactic peace, now sat in stunned silence, their hubris shattered by the Voidborn's casual dismissal of their most advanced defenses. As the council descended into chaos, a shrill cry cut through the noise. It was Xiandra, the representative of the Sylphid Conclave, a race of empaths known for their ability to sense the emotions of entire planets. Silence! Xiandra's psychic scream reverberated through the minds of all present. Can't you feel it? The fear. It's everywhere. It's feeding them, making them stronger. A hush fell over the assembly as the truth of Xiandra's words sank in. The Voidborn weren't just consuming matter and energy. They were feeding on the very essence of terror that they inspired. In the days that followed, the galaxy witnessed scenes of unprecedented panic. On Novaria, a world-spanning metropolis, riots broke out as citizens fought for spots on the last evacuation ships. The planet's orbital rings, once a marvel of engineering, collapsed under the weight of fleeing vessels, raining debris onto the cities below. The biocollective of Gamma Hydra, a hive mind spanning trillions of individual organisms, experienced a psychic schism so severe that entire continents withered and died as the collective consciousness tore itself apart in fear. Even the machine intelligences of the Cyberian network, who had long prided themselves on their cold logic, began to experience the digital equivalent of panic attacks, their quantum processors overloading as they failed to compute a solution to the Voidborn threat. Amidst the chaos, acts of both incredible cowardice and astounding bravery emerged. The Talaxian Empire, once spanning 1,000 star systems, abandoned their outer colonies without warning, leaving billions to fend for themselves as they retreated to their heavily fortified homeworld. In stark contrast, the monks of the Luminous Order on Alpha Centauri chose to stay behind as their world was evacuated, using their mastery of transdimensional meditation to create a psychic barrier that delayed the Voidborn advance, buying precious time for countless refugees to escape. As system after system fell, a grim calculus took hold. Civilizations began to sacrifice outer worlds and populations, hoping to slow the Voidborn's advance and buy time for what? A miracle? A last-ditch superweapon? Or merely a few more moments of existence before the inevitable end? The desperation reached such heights that ancient taboos were broken. The Void Archives, a repository of forbidden knowledge, were opened for the first time in eons. Researchers delved into long-banned fields of study, searching for any advantage against the cosmic horror that threatened to devour them all. But for every breakthrough, for every moment of hope, the Voidborn seemed to grow stronger, more numerous, more unstoppable. As the galactic community teetered on the brink of total collapse, all eyes turned to the unlikeliest of saviors, a young, brash species from a backwater planet called Earth. The plan to make a stand in the Sol system was met with equal parts hope and skepticism. Many dismissed it as a fool's errand, a last, pathetic gesture before the end. Others clung to it as their final hope, investing whatever resources they had left into this desperate gambit. Fleets of refugee ships began to converge on Earth, carrying with them the last remnants of once mighty civilizations. The solar system became a melting pot of species, technologies, and cultures, all united by a shared terror of the approaching doom. As the leaders of humanity were briefed on the full scale of the threat they faced, a curious thing happened. Where other species had reacted with panic or despair, many humans showed a different response: determination. It was a subtle shift, but one that did not go unnoticed by the empathic species among the refugees. Where the rest of the galaxy radiated fear, humans began to emit something else: a fierce, stubborn resolve that seemed to grow stronger in the face of impossible odds. As the Voidborn drew ever closer to the Sol system, tearing through the last lines of defense established by the retreating galactic powers, humanity began to prepare for the fight of their lives. Little did the rest of the galaxy know, but this wasn't the first time humans had stared into the abyss. And if there's one thing humans knew how to do, it was to stare right back. The stage was set, the universe trembled, and humanity? They were just getting started. As the full gravity of the situation became clear to Earth's leaders, a wave of emotions swept across the planet. Fear, anxiety, and disbelief rippled through the population. But beneath it all, something else began to stir. A uniquely human cocktail of defiance, curiosity, and grim determination. World leaders convened an emergency global summit. The UN General Assembly Hall in New York City was packed, the air thick with tension. Secretary General Amina Khoury took the podium, her voice steady despite the weight of trillions of lives resting on her shoulders. "People of Earth," she began, "we face a threat unlike any in human history. The Voidborn are coming, and they've left a trail of destruction across the galaxy. But make no mistake, this is our moment." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Khoury's eyes flashed with fierce determination as she continued. "Throughout our history, humanity has faced extinction-level events. Ice ages, plagues, world wars, and every single time, we've come back stronger. We don't cower, we don't surrender. We innovate, we adapt, and we overcome." The murmur grew to a roar of approval. In homes and public squares across the globe, people watched the broadcast, feeling a surge of pride and resolve. As the summit progressed, plans were quickly put into motion. The world's militaries united under a single banner: the Earth Defense Force. Scientific institutions worldwide shifted their focus entirely to understanding and combating the Voidborn threat. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, head of the newly formed Xenobiology Division, addressed her team of international scientists. "We're dealing with entities that defy our current understanding of physics. But remember, every problem has a solution. We just need to find it." In Silicon Valley, tech mogul Elon Musk Jr. announced a global hackathon. "We need every brain working on this. From quantum computing to good old-fashioned coding. If you can type, you can help save the world." Across the planet, a spirit of cooperation and innovation took hold. Old rivalries were set aside. Resources were pooled, and humanity began to prepare for war on a cosmic scale. But it wasn't just about technology and weapons. The human spirit itself became a weapon against the encroaching darkness. In a small town in Iowa, Farmer John Peterson looked up at the stars, a shotgun in his calloused hands. "Them space monsters think they can just come here and take our planet? Well, they got another thing coming." In the bustling streets of Lagos, Nigeria, street artist Adebayo Okonkwo spray-painted a mural depicting humanity standing tall against cosmic horrors. The caption read, "Fear? Never heard of it." Even children got involved. In a classroom in Tokyo, 10-year-old Hana Watanabe raised her hand. "Sensei, if the Voidborn eat fear, can we starve them by being really, really brave?" Her teacher, Mr. Sato, smiled. "That's exactly the kind of thinking we need, Hana-chan." As refugees from across the galaxy poured into the solar system, they were met not with panic, but with a flurry of activity. Humans worked tirelessly to accommodate their alien guests, eager to learn from their advanced technology and experiences. Admiral Helena Vasquez of the newly formed Earth Space Navy addressed a group of alien military leaders. "I know you've seen these bastards in action. You've seen what they can do. But let me tell you something, you haven't seen what we can do yet." The aliens exchanged nervous glances. One of them, a towering insectoid being, clicked its mandibles anxiously. But the Voidborn, they consumed entire Kardashev Type 2 civilizations like they were nothing. How can your primitive weapons possibly dash? Vasquez cut him off with a sharp laugh. Primitive? Maybe. But we're the primitives who split the atom, who walked on the moon with computers less powerful than a modern toaster. We're the primitives who looked at the vast, uncaring cosmos and said, yeah, we can work with this. So trust me when I say, we're just getting started. As the day of the Voidborn's arrival drew near, humanity's resolve only grew stronger. In every lab, every factory, every home, humans worked with a fervor that astounded their alien allies. Dr. Tanaka's team made a breakthrough in understanding the Voidborn's interdimensional nature. Musk's global hackathon produced an AI that could predict Voidborn movement patterns with 87% accuracy. And in a secret facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, a weapon was being built, one that promised to hit the Voidborn where it hurt. The night before the expected contact, a strange calm settled over the earth. Families gathered, friends embraced, and lovers held each other close. But there were no tears, no despair. Instead, there was a sense of readiness, of anticipation. In Times Square, a massive screen displayed a simple message: Earth stands tall. As the first tendrils of the Voidborn breach began to appear in the outer solar system, humanity stood ready. They had faced their fear, embraced it, and forged it into a weapon. The universe had cowered. Humanity had not. And now, it was time to show the Voidborn exactly what they were dealing with. The battle for Earth, for the very existence of life as they knew it, was about to begin. And humanity? They were ready for a fight. The day of reckoning arrived with the sky full of terror. The Voidborn, vast and incomprehensible, began to materialize at the edge of the solar system. Their very presence warped reality, causing spatial distortions that played havoc with Earth's long-range sensors. Admiral Vasquez stood on the bridge of the ESS Defiant, Earth's flagship. Her jaw clenched as she watched the horrifying spectacle unfold on the main view screen. This is it, people. Battle stations. Across the solar system, humanity's last line of defense sprang into action. A motley fleet of Earth vessels, augmented by alien refugee ships, formed up in a defensive perimeter around the inner planets. As the Voidborn approached, their nightmarish forms becoming clearer, an eerie silence fell over the comms. Then, unexpectedly, a voice crackled through. It was John Peterson, the Iowa farmer, patched through from his militia's improvised bunker. Don't you worry none, Admiral. We got your back down here. Them space squids ain't gonna know what hit him. Vasquez couldn't help but smile. Copy that, Earth. Give him hell. The first wave of the Voidborn struck like a cosmic sledgehammer. Reality itself seemed to scream as they tore through the outer defense lines. Ships exploded silently in the vacuum of space, their crews fighting to the last breath. But humanity refused to go quietly. Dr. Tanaka's voice came over the comm. Admiral, we've pinpointed a weakness. Their interdimensional structure. It's vulnerable to tachyon bombardment. You heard the lady. Vasquez roared. All ships, concentrate tachyon fire on the lead entities. A blinding barrage of energy lanced out from the human fleet. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, with a reality-bending shriek that somehow carried through the vacuum of space, one of the Voidborn imploded. A cheer went up across the fleet. It works. We can hurt them. But the victory was short-lived. The Voidborn, seemingly enraged by the loss of one of their own, redoubled their assault. They punched through the defensive line, heading straight for Earth. They're going for the planet. Vasquez shouted. All ships, fall back and regroup. We cannot let them reach the surface. As the battle raged in space, Earth itself was far from idle. The Global Defense Grid, a network of advanced weapon systems hastily constructed in the preceding months, roared to life. In orbit, massive railguns began launching projectiles at relativistic speeds. On the ground, enormous laser arrays powered by hijacked power grids fired beams of coherent light into the sky. And from hidden silos across the planet, a barrage of missiles armed with experimental warheads streaked towards the invaders. The Voidborn's advance slowed, but didn't stop. They absorbed the punishment, growing larger and more terrifying with each attack they survived. In the secret facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, tensions reached a fever pitch. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, lead scientist of Project Nemesis, watched as the final calculations scrolled across her screen. "It's ready," she whispered, then louder. "It's ready. Initiating Project Nemesis now." Across the globe, hidden emitters activated simultaneously. They began broadcasting on a frequency that made every human within range feel a deep, primal unease. But its effect on the Voidborn was catastrophic. The entities writhed in apparent agony, their forms fluctuating wildly. Some began to dissolve, while others turned on each other in a frenzy. "It's working," Rodriguez shouted into her calm. "The anti-fear wavelength is disrupting their dimensional stability." For a moment, it seemed like victory was at hand. But then, something unexpected happened. The largest of the Voidborn, a behemoth that dwarfed all others, let out a psychic roar that shattered the anti-fear broadcast. Alarms blared across every command center on and off Earth. "We've lost Nemesis," Vasquez growled. "All units, brace for impact." The Leviathan Voidborn descended towards Earth, its massive form blocking out the sun over much of the northern hemisphere. Tentacles of dark energy lashed out, smashing through the planet's remaining defenses like they were made of paper. As hope began to fade, as even the bravest hearts began to quail, a voice cut through the chaos. It was Hana Watanabe, the young girl from Tokyo. Her voice somehow patched through to every comm channel. "Remember," she cried, her young voice filled with conviction that belied her years. "They feed on fear. So let's show them we're not afraid." Her words sparked something in the hearts of every human fighting for survival. Across the planet, in spacecraft and bunkers, in cities and rural outposts, humanity roared its defiance. And something incredible happened. The Voidborn Leviathan, poised to deliver the killing blow to Earth, hesitated. Its form flickered, as if struggling to maintain coherence in the face of this unexpected resistance. Vasquez saw the opportunity. "All units, fire everything you've got. Now." Every remaining weapon in Earth's arsenal unleashed hell upon the faltering monstrosity. Tachyon beams, relativistic projectiles, experimental warheads, everything humanity had, they threw at the Voidborn. For a moment that seemed to stretch into eternity, the fate of Earth, of all reality, hung in the balance. Then, with a silent explosion that momentarily outshone the sun, the Leviathan Voidborn disintegrated. The effect rippled out across space. The remaining Voidborn, suddenly cut off from their leader, began to lose cohesion. Some fled, tearing holes in reality as they retreated. Others simply faded away, their existence apparently tied to the now destroyed Leviathan. As the realization of what had just happened began to sink in, a stunned silence fell across the battlefield. Then, starting as a whisper and building to a deafening roar, cheers erupted from every corner of the Earth and beyond. Humanity had done the impossible. They had stood against cosmic horror itself, and they had won. But even as the celebration began, Admiral Vasquez and the other leaders knew this was only the beginning. The Voidborn had been driven back, but not destroyed, and humanity had just painted a massive target on its back. The war for the fate of all existence had only just begun. But humanity had proven one thing beyond all doubt. The universe might cower in fear, but humanity would always stand tall.